Is it harder to create a 2D game or a 3D game? If you make the 3D game yourself with the own engine, then it's harder to make a 3D game. But both types of games, you will face the same problems. You will make a system, build a system in the game, and you use it, and then you will have to redesign the systems. You will make mistakes. You will have to rework your code in both games. Stardew Valley creator needed 4.5 years for his game, and he's still working on it to this day. Tangy, the developer of a 3D game, very, very successful RPG game, needed 8 years. I don't know how long it took him to get a version where he could start in, where he could go into early access. But he's been developing the game for years too, before he could go into early access and then start funding, start paying other people to help him with art and stuff like that. So ultimately, a big project, a big game will take time, and both of them have their ups and downs. Having the third dimension available to you makes a lot of collision things more difficult, but also easier. How does 3D make collision easier? For example, for projectiles. In 2D, you have a fake height for projectiles, while in 3D, you know exactly where the projectile is. There is no hidden height that a 2D game needs to, I don't know, lie to you to make a projectile feel good. It's this eternal problem of this situation right here, where if you have a character here and a character here, and then there is a projectile that flies this direction and then in this direction. And so in this case, the projectile height would be here, which is obviously below the character, and in this case, it's over the character. So that, like, this stuff right here can happen in 2D games, which ultimately lead you to issues. You need to resolve this in a way. What I hate about 2D is that it's very unforgiving. In games like mine with 16 by 16 pixel grid, you can see every single wrong placed pixel immediately. You mean for pixel art games? Yeah, you can. 2D animations are much harder. 2D animations are also very difficult to do, especially when you're drawing a bunch of sprite sheets. You need to draw a bunch of images. And I'm not saying that rigging is easy, okay? I'm not saying that. But again, both have their advantages and disadvantages, but at the same time, both are difficult. Making a game is just a big task. That's just how it is. Making your own engine in 3D is also a process of its own, while making a 2D engine is actually pretty easy. You get started very quickly with 2D engines. That's true, yeah. I was able to make a 2D game almost immediately in my own engine. Yeah, I needed a tutorial on how to set up a renderer, and then I was able to make a 2D game. In a 3D game, you can do that too, but oftentimes you are blocked by collision. Physics is the biggest roadblock in 3D games. And mostly what you have in these types of games where you begin in an engine like that is a 3D camera that you can fly around with, but you can clip through everything. 3D lighting is also insanely hard. Yeah, good lighting, yeah. You mess it up and it looks shit, yeah.